Have you ever wanted to apologize to someone, but deep down, you just knew that reaching out would actually make things worse? I mean, you're carrying around this heavy weight of a past mistake, and you genuinely want to set things right, but looking at the reality of the situation, a direct, I'm sorry, is basically impossible. Or, let's be honest, maybe even a little selfish. It's this quiet anxiety that so many of us carry around, right? We're left wondering exactly how to fix what we've broken when the pieces are just, well, they're too sharp to touch. To help us navigate this, we're turning to the source material for today's explainer, a really fascinating text called 12 Steps to a Good Life. The author brings in this incredibly powerful quote from M. Scott Peck to set the stage for us. He says, "Emotional sickness is avoiding reality at any cost. Emotional health is facing reality at any cost." And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to look squarely at the reality of our past actions, even when it is deeply uncomfortable, because ultimately, that is the only true path forward. So, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to completely reframe the whole concept of an apology. Using some brilliant insights from the 12 steps, we're going to explore the paradox of forgiveness and will uncover a genuinely life-changing concept known as the living amend. If you have ever felt trapped by a mistake you just couldn't undo, you are absolutely going to want to hear this. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the universal struggle. Before we can even think about fixing anything, we have to acknowledge this heavy burden of the past that we all carry. The text reminds us that we all want peace, we all want meaning, but we so often find ourselves totally trapped by our own thoughts and crushed by the weight of things we've done. So to clear this up, we have to understand the specific type of guilt we're feeling. We need to separate false guilt from authentic guilt. See, false guilt blames you for things that are entirely outside of your control. But authentic guilt, that is the sobering realization that your actions, or maybe your inactions, actually caused real harm to someone else. And identifying which one you're dealing with is literally the foundation of fixing it. And as we look at that authentic guilt, it is so vital to remember this. Absolutely no human being goes through life without making mistakes. The text makes such a beautiful, compassionate point here. It points out that our flaws, our character defects, they often started out as survival strategies. They were just coping mechanisms designed to protect us at one point, even if they're actively harming us now. Understanding that really helps us approach our past with honesty, but without that crushing self-judgment. Which brings us to section 2, taking honest responsibility. In the framework of the 12 steps, confronting our past actually aligns perfectly with step 8. Step 8 asks us to systematically list the harm we've caused, and it gives us a specific process for it. First, you quietly reflect on your past relationships and behaviors. Second, you write down the harm you caused, not what they did to you, but your part. Remember, you can't control other people, only your own actions. And third, and man, this one is so easily missed, you must include your own name on that list. You have to acknowledge the harm you've caused yourself through neglect or just poor choices. This really brings to life a fantastic quote from Brené Brown that's highlighted in the source material. Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do. It takes immense courage to look at a list of your own faults, but you also have to find the self-compassion necessary to forgive yourself and move forward. You know, you aren't writing this list to punish yourself. You're writing it so you can finally be free. Let's move into section 3, the amends paradox. So once you have your list, step 9 says you should make amends where possible. Sounds simple enough, right? Just go apologize. But here is the massive caveat. Sometimes a direct apology is the absolute wrong move. The text explicitly outlines when not to make direct amends. Like, if reaching out is going to reopen old emotional wounds or trauma for the other person, you stop. If they've moved on and your apology is going to disrupt their healing process, don't do it. If clearing your conscience creates collateral damage, like admitting a secret that would just devastate an unsuspecting partner, or if it violates boundaries someone has put in place to keep you away, a face-to-face apology is completely off the table. This requires a really tough ego check. You have to ask yourself honestly, are you apologizing to genuinely help them heal, or are you really just trying to make yourself feel better? Are you trying to relieve your own guilt at the expense of their peace of mind? Step 9 is about fixing the damage you caused to the world, not just, winning a gold star for saying, I'm sorry. So what do we do instead? That's section 4, the living amend. If a direct apology is impossible, or if it would cause further harm, the answer is the living amend. And what this means is showing your commitment to positive change through consistent, intentional actions every single day. You are proving through your lifestyle that you have learned from your past mistakes rather than just offering up some empty words. And make no mistake, a living amend is much, much harder than a quick apology. It requires lifelong behavioral change. You're demonstrating a permanent shift in who you are. Think of it as two distinct paths. On one hand, you have a direct amend. That's your face-to-face apology, your direct restitution. It's always the first choice when it's safe. But when it's not safe, the alternative amend becomes your essential tool for atonement. This path is all about unspoken actions, indirect corrections, and quite literally living the change every single day. The text gives us some highly practical forms of these alternative amends too. For instance, you could write an unsent letter of apology. That helps you process your remorse without burdening the other person at all. You can make anonymous donations to charities that are relevant to the harm you caused. You can engage in unspoken acts of kindness. Or you can do local, totally unrecognized volunteer work. These actions allow you to put good back into the world, effectively balancing the scales without causing any further relational chaos. All right, Section 5, doing the daily work. So how do we actually maintain this without constantly asking for credit? Well, your past behavior maps directly to your daily living amend. If your past behavior was being dishonest, your living amend isn't just saying sorry once. It's practicing radical honesty daily moving forward. If you stole from others, your living amend is donating your time or your money anonymously. If you're angry and reactive, your living amend is actively pausing and practicing deep breathing whenever you get triggered. You're basically becoming the exact opposite of the harm you once caused. I absolutely love this garden metaphor the author uses to explain how this transformation happens. Honestly, it should bring you a huge sense of relief. First, you do the work. You plant the seed of your new habits and your living amends. Second, you are consistent. You water and weed that garden every day. And third, you step back and allow change to happen. You can't force a seed to grow through sheer willpower, right? Just like you can't force yourself to instantly become a perfect person. You just commit to the daily work and let the organic transformation take place. As we bring this whole narrative to a close, the text shares this amazing quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. By fixing our past mistakes through quiet living amends, by doing the volunteer work, by changing our daily behaviors to help the world around us, we ultimately heal ourselves. That is the true miracle of the 12 steps to a good life. So I want to leave you with this final thought to consider. Knowing that an apology isn't always spoken and that true restitution is really found in our daily actions, how will you live your amend today?